For the debate, a member for York-Simcoe.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and I'm pleased to rise to speak on Bill 115, the Lobbyist Registration Amendment Act, the private member's bill, put forward by the member for Welland. While I agree with effective oversight of agents who lobby government officials on behalf of clients, I do not agree that this bill is the right way to tighten the rules. There is a benefit in today's discussion, though, which serves to discuss some fundamental issues with the way this government's been doing business for so many years. This bill may seem timely, particularly with today's front-page news of the Premier being lobbied by an elite cabal of influencers about energy issues. But we must remember, lobbyists are necessary. Lobbyists are an integral part of the business of government, and lobbyists are the people who speak on behalf of the stakeholders we work with as part of government. I think even the NDP would agree that given the activists and union leaders are considered lobbyists too. Another aspect of government relations or lobbying, we should all remember, we cannot legislate morality. An individual's ethical behavior depends on the choices made by that individual, not necessarily the laws of the day. For instance, we could completely ban lobbying altogether so no one was allowed to speak to government if they had a pecuniary interest or pending approval. That would be drastic, but it would also be followed by some, but not by all. The most egregious examples of government decision makers being influenced by outside private interests would probably still occur, like the Alfred Apps and Don Guy case with respect to the Orange Air ambulance scandal. This must be considered. This bill seeks to protect against the most extreme cases of illegal influence, but casts the whole lobbyist profession in the same light and restrains them by making the same impractical rules. All too often, this House is making laws to address specific situations, not widespread problems. This bill proposes to make consultant lobbyists file activity reports within 5 days instead of the 10-day period in force now. This would be immaterial to us or the Integrity Commissioner, but this arbitrary change would be too onerous for the lobbyist, who may have many files on the go. The bill seeks to differentiate between high-level public office holder and a public office holder. I think that this needs to be dealt with in this Act. This bill seeks to implement a 5-year cooling-off period for high-level public office holders, which would prohibit them from lobbying after they leave their position. This change would severely limit the ability of a former office holder to make a living, since their currency is their profile and contact. Remember, it is not and cannot be seen as immoral to have connections in high places. It depends on the person with those connections conducts themselves. I find the most interesting part about this bill is the introduction of whistleblower protection in the Lobbyist Registration Act. I believe whistleblowers should be protected, but I'm not sure if this is the appropriate way to do it. Let me conclude by saying that I believe this bill to be a good tool for discussion to pave the way for improvements the member has described. I would like to go on to point out further issues I have with this bill, but I must yield my time to another colleague. Thank you.
Thank you. For the debate, a member for Parkdale Hyde Park.